Greetings, Sunbeam families. This is Mr. Curtin here to present the Student Rights and Responsibility Student Code of Conduct for the 2020-2021 school year. Let's begin with the first page, which includes a list of some helpful numbers. These numbers include the ADM office, the FACE office, Hearing and Appeals, the Ombudsman, Project Act, Safety and Security, Special Education, School Choice and Enrollment, Transportation, the Department of Public Health, the Cleveland Rape Crisis Center Hotline, Domestic Violence Center, the First Call for Help, Rapid Response Team, and Suicide Prevention. Again, these can be found within the first cover of this Student Code of Conduct book. All of the information that can be found in the Student Code of Conduct is extremely valuable. However, in this video, we will only highlight a few of those items, but we encourage you to make sure that you read through all of the items and points in the Student Code of Conduct so that you can understand your rights and responsibilities as students, parents, and as educators. Let's begin. In this first section, shared rights and responsibilities. Here in this section, you can find student rights, parent rights, teacher rights, and administrator rights. And summary of all of those points is that each one of those partners are to be treated with respect, are to receive the support and cooperation of all, and to exist in a safe and orderly environment. These responsibilities, rights and responsibilities, can be found extending onto page 5. The next section we're going to highlight is student uniforms. In this section, starting on page 6, you can find information about the school uniform minimum standards. This section extends to page 7, 8, and ends on page 9. The next highlighted section is going to be found on page 9, and it's regarding the cellular phones and electronic devices. The district is committed to providing a safe and positive and productive learning environment for its students. The district recognizes that depending on how they are used, cellular phones and other electronic devices can be either a valuable learning tool or a source of disruption in the learning environment. In order to maintain a secure and orderly learning environment, student use and possession of cellular phones and other electronic devices shall conform to the appropriate use standards of this policy. This policy can be read here on page 9, page 10, and page 11. Please make sure that you check out this section. The next highlighted section will be found on the bottom of page 13, which states that the CMSD is a district that stands by the equal educational opportunities. This district respects and protects students' right to be free from discrimination on the basis of race, color, national origin, citizenship status, religion, sex, sexual orientation, economic status, marital status, pregnancy, age, or disability in all decisions affecting admissions, membership in school-sponsored organizations, clubs or activities, access to facilities, distribution of funds, academic evaluations, administration of discipline and corrective action processes, or any other aspect of school-sponsored activities. Any limitations with regard to participation in a school-sponsored activity are based on criteria reasonably related to that specific activity. That can be found on page 13. The next highlighted section will be on page 17, section F, which talks about the 504 policies and procedures. I want to read a part here where it says, if you feel your child may be eligible for a Section 504 accommodation plan due to a qualifying disability, please contact your school principal or access the information on the district's website at clevelandmetroschools.org. The school principal is the school's Section 504 coordinator and has ample referral forms available in the main office for parents and teachers to use to begin the evaluation process. That information continues on page 17 and extends to page 18. On page 18, you can find important information about the IDEIA, which is the Individuals with Disabilities Educational Improvement Act of 2004. This is a federal law that ensures that all students with disabilities receive a free, appropriate public education. The district is responsible for ensuring all students identified with disabilities under the IDEIA receive specialized instruction in related services through an individualized education plan, IEP. More information on this can be found throughout page 18. The next highlighted section is section 9, which talks about student harassment, intimidation, and bullying. I want to read this statement here. Harassment, intimidation, or bullying, including cyberbullying, is an intentional written, verbal, or physical act that a student has exhibited toward another student, particular student, or school personnel more than once, and such behavior causes mental or physical harm to the other student or school personnel and is sufficiently severe, persistent, or pervasive that it creates an intimidating, threatening, or abusive educational environment for the other student or school personnel. When these elements are met, a prohibited incident of harassment, intimidation, or bullying has occurred. Harassment, intimidation, or bullying of any student or school personnel on school property or at school-sponsored events is prohibited. That is further explained on the bottom of page 20, on page 21, and on page 22. On page 22, there is another section, section 10, which talks about sexual harassment, discriminatory harassment, and discrimination. It is the policy of the Cleveland Metropolitan School District to maintain educational and work environments free from sexual harassment and from discriminatory harassment or discrimination on the basis of individual sex, race, ethnicity, citizenship status, color, national origin, religion, age, sexual orientation, gender identity or expression, genetic information, military status, disability, or any other characteristic protected by law. This policy is written out and continues on through page 23, page 24, page 25, page 26, page 27, and page 28. Please make sure that you read through this section. The next highlighted point can be found on page 31 with student attendance. It is important that everybody gets to school on time and is ready to learn. So therefore, one of the points is that students between ages 6 and 18 shall go to school every day throughout the year or confer with their teachers to make up all missed work because of absence. The importance of student attendance can be delineated on page 31, 32, and at the top of page 33. On page 34, you can find the next highlighted point of student behavioral supports. In this particular section, it highlights the fact that this district provides a wide array of programs, models, and services to support student behaviors. Such supports, such as restorative practices, which include affective statements, affective questions, impromptu conferences, classroom circles, and then other behavioral supports that include conferences with parents, removal for educational intervention, behavioral contracts, PBIS, referrals for psychological services or assessment and counseling, functional behavior assessments and behavior intervention plans, class meeting, detentions, and then if it persists, suspensions and expulsions. And we hope not to get to those areas. That's why we have built in such student supports so that those particular things do not have to happen. Some other supports that we have here can be found on page 40. In the CMSD, we have something called HumanWare. And HumanWare, or Social Emotional Learning, SEL, is an important part of the district's strategic plans to address conditions for learning so that all students are academically and socially equipped to succeed. Some supports that we have for those programs are WAVE mediation, bullying prevention, the Planning Center, the Student Support Team, Paths, Second Step Middle School Program, and Rapid Response. That can be found ending on page 41. The next highlighted section can be found on page 43, Student Procedures and Due Process in Regards to Student Discipline. That can be found on page 43, as I said before, going through page 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, and then starting on page 51 are the levels of infractions that are there. In the end of this Student Code of Conduct book, or at the back of the book, you can find the appendices, which includes a behavioral contract. It includes a form for sexual harassment, or discrimination complaints. And then it also includes a directory information opt-out. You can also find the legal references that point to the Ohio Revised Code or the City of Cleveland ordinances or even federal law. And here we go at the end, you have the listing of our CEO, which is Mr. Eric Gordon, and the Board of Education. Thank you for joining me on this journey through our Student Rights and Responsibility Student Code of Conduct. Please click the link below, download the form, and then upload it into the link that is made available. Thank you and have a great rest of your day.